Hello. Hello, ladies. Good evening. Hello. How you doing? Can you hear me? Please let me get some feedback from you that you can hear me. Hi, people. You can unmute yourself now. Oh, great. Okay, okay, yeah, thank you very much for responding. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Esther, Naila, Eloho, and Antia, right? I'm very happy to have you guys here, and also those that are joining us. Okay, thank you very much. And for those that are joining us on YouTube, I welcome you particularly, and also a very big thank you for our speakers. They're already here, and they came quite early. I watched them all come in. Yes, thank you very much for joining me. We don't always invite people on the Zoom directly, but today, because we have a special kind of conversation, I decided to let you guys come into the Zoom so you can ask your direct quick questions to our speakers. But before I continue, I'm sure you'll be wondering who I am if you're meeting me for the first time. My name is Frances Aborigo, the founder of Shimeges with Innovation Women Empowerment Foundation, Shimej, aka. So we work, our goal in Shimej is to help women, especially mothers who had heartbreak in their career due to marriage, um, what they call it, migration, and all form of career breaks. Then we help them to return to work by teaching them creative skills, tech and digital skills. So we focus on women and especially young mothers. So here in Shimej, we make sure that every woman that is in contact with us or in our community has a skill that is sellable, right? Employable, and also the skills that can be transferred and used to scale your own personal venture. If you want to be a freelancer, if you want to start up or build your own startup, we try to provide you with as much resources. We have a community of women that are always chatting and communicating, providing with resources, support, encouragement, sharing wherever possible to make sure that you grow adequately in your career journey, your career path. So here I know some people, there are some, I believe some of us are members of the community and new people are joining us. Please go ahead and invite your friends because I know tonight is going to be very practical and expository. So we have Victor Akonde and Amechi Kinsley that are joining us. I can't wait to sit back and learn. Then for those of us that have been reaching out to me about their CVs, their information, their portfolio, should as well should as well attend this. Sorry about that distraction I had just now. I was talking about those that are asking me things about their CV and what best food should they put forward when they are trying to apply for jobs. Why is it that they were employed? Why is it that they were not chosen in their employment journey? I still have some feedback from employers, those that are in the employment position, reach out to say, this is what I don't like about this person. This is what I prefer about this person. So this kind of information are not always made public, but we are privileged to have people that are sitting in that position, people that have those privileges to be in the decision-making seat and know what is needed for talent, tech talent, and how to help you put your best foot forward, bring your A game to interview positions, and also bringing your A game in places of employment. So I'm really excited myself to sit back and hear from this because I'm meeting some of our speakers for the first time. So I don't know what to expect. And also being the fact that Job Mind is involved, We know that Jobberman is a big organization and a popular one that has employed thousands of Nigerians, if not in their hundreds of thousands. So they've helped them to get jobs. So they really know what employers are talking about, right? So thank you once more for joining us. I can't wait to hear from you all. If you are joining us directly on Zoom, you can feel free to introduce yourself. First, your name, where you're joining us from, and what you're doing currently. Who knows whether your next employer is going to see this? Then if you're joining us on Zoom, on YouTube, please feel free to do the same. Share what you're doing currently and the kind of positions you want to be employed into, okay? So with that, I think I should go ahead and introduce our first speaker, not in any special order. Yeah, because I know that we've already read their introduction, but I will do you the honor, excuse me, of hearing a little bit about them, because I know sincerely you can never describe an experienced professional in one paragraph, right? Or maybe one-page document. So we're meeting Victor Akande, a seasoned talent sourcer, not sorcerer, and recruitment consultant with a proven track record of successfully placing mid to C-level candidates across technical and non-technical roles in industries such as fintech, FCMG, energy, and media, among other sectors. With a background in metallurgical and material engineering, Victor transitioned into talent acquisition, bringing over 4 years of hands-on experience in headhunting, Boolean search, and end-to-end recruitment across Africa and Europe. Known for his strategic sourcing, stakeholder engagement, and ability to meet tight hiring timelines, he currently contributes to Jobberman Nigeria's recruitment success as a top performing consultant. So thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Victor. We cannot wait to learn from your deep and wide experience recruiting talents for both Africa and Europe. Thank you very much for joining us. So feel free to clap your hands as we draw the curtain open for our speaker. Thank you. So Victor, please, are you with us here? Okay, thank you, Nalia. Okay, I want to confirm something. So since I can't hear from him, I just want to be sure his network is not preventing him from joining us. Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, very well right now. Thank you very much. I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry for the breaking transmission, or as they say. Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction. You were reading that and I was like, did I send that to you? Am I the one
You
they are
sure
reading
did.
about? So
It happens, yes.
so yeah, thank you once again. Thank you very much for having me. Hello everyone. This is my first time here, and hopefully I get to do get to share little that I believe I know in with respect to the topic we're discussing about, and how well one can position themselves, just so that you are well placed, right, in the job market, right? So once again, thank you very much, and thank you for having me. And I also want to appreciate the convener of this great program, right? And my friend and colleague Amici Kingsley on the call, who happened to also invite me to join this meeting this evening. So once again, thank you for having me. My name is Victor, Makonde Victor, like the convener earlier mentioned, and I currently work as a recruitment consultant, a recruitment specialist, basically with Jobama Nigeria, and I've been with them for over 2 years now, delivering, tailored candidates and tailored solutions in recruitment to various partners, right? And well, I do believe every one of us know who Jobberman is. And this is what the convener also mentioned. Jobberman is a Pan-African recruitment agency in Nigeria, into everything that has to do with talent. So when we talk about talent, we're talking about talent management, talent acquisition, talent partnership, talent outsourcing, and so on and so forth. So everything that has to do with talent, that is what Jobberman does. And this is what we have been doing for the past close to 2 decades now, and this has made us one of the leading job platform here in Nigeria with over 3 million um, uh, qualified people on our platform. So, not to bore you with details around who Jobberman is, I thought I was going to go, I was going to have to talk second, but let's just have at it. So we're talking about what next after boot camp, right? Um, Transitioning into uh, the tech space, so transitioning into a new space as a whole. So what next? Landing your first job with confidence. So again, you have done so many things. You're currently working. You've done boot camps. You have learned new tools. You have built a bit of project, done turnkey project, and so on and so forth. You have even the bugs. You have done. You've had your eureka moments, and then you're asking yourself, what now? What can I do? What is the next step for me? Right. So I do believe the next step there, which is like any other thing, is to start your job search. So I'll just give you like a background for me. Even though when she was reading my biography, right, she mentioned me transitioning from engineering into the recruitment space. So I basically came off school, and Nigeria, what you read is not what you are eventually doing. So it was the same thing for me also, right? Came out of school, studying metallurgical materials engineering, and I was like, okay, yeah, I had the where I wanted to go. My next big place was working in Chevron, an oil company. But as life we have it, the reality dawned on me very quickly when I started my NYSC, and I did my NYC as a teacher, right? Can you imagine? But it is what it is. Did my NYC as a teacher. My first job, which was somewhere around 2017, 2018, it was that of a telesales person. But I just knew my telesales person was earning money at Article. So I just knew this was not it for me. And I knew I had something in me that I needed to do, right? So I transitioned again into engineering. So this time around, I was working as a field service engineer with a service company for the top telecommunications company here in Nigeria. So when we talk about top telecommunication company, we're talking about the likes of MTN, Airtel, Glo, and the likes. And this took me down to Abia. But then, because of the nature of the job, I just knew this particular deal was not it for me also. And I thought about it, right? Because I knew because of the COVID period. So this was just the time I was an engineer, I was sometime around 2020, and this was the COVID period. So at December of that COVID period, I sat down and I thought about it. Okay, I know this. I do not see myself doing this job long term, and at that same time, we're not talking about, globally now, the world was talking about the future of work, and that brought about that brought visibility into the tech space. So this was where I was introduced into the tech space, right? And I just told myself, okay, I want to be part of the future of work, and I decided to key into it. So I saved up some money, right, while I was working over there as an engineer, and I got my first laptop. This was around 2020, right, in Abia State. And I just said, okay, I don't see myself staying in Abia State. I came down back to Lagos, and I immersed myself in trying to learn, right? And this brought me into various boot camps. One is the free code camp, the code camp, yeah, the code camp. This is I've forgotten the name of the person, but code camp. It's a 3 month program that has to do with everything tech. So I joined them. I learned as much as I could, right? And it got to a point where I just hanged. The irony, right? I just hanged. That this was I wanted to learn front end engineering, so I just hanged somewhere around JavaScript. And luckily for me, right? Luckily for me, recruitment came calling, right? And this was what brought me into recruitment. I came into recruitment sometime around 2021. So what I'm trying to drive at is your past experience. You do not just throw them out. Everything that you have learned so far, everything that you have, your boot camps, your past job, everything that you have learned so far are things that you will still need in where you're transitioning to. So that is what I want to start with, right? So the first thing you need to do, what I believe you need to do when you're trying to get into the field of recruitment, or when you're trying to transition into somewhere, is to own your story. Own your story. So your past is not a liability. Your past is like your superpower, right? Whether you were a salesperson before, whether you were a marketing person before, there is something in tech for you. There is something in tech for you. So I think one problem that many of us we do have is the fact that we do not know that tech is wide, and because of that, we tend to immerse ourselves into the art part of it, which is more or less the programming part of it, and leave the places that are more or less tailored to our strengths. So why am I saying this? I learned tech, right, in 2021. I learned everything that has to do. I learned something that had to do with programming, that is front end, back end, and that too, because I did not because I knew I was transitioning in tech, and because I knew I loved the tech world. I was transitioning to recruitment, but I knew I loved the tech world. I did not throw away all what I've learned, right? So this made me transition into something I believe could merge the two together, which was what now? Tech recruitment, right? So as it is now, I happen to work as both a technical recruiter and a non-technical recruiter. And what has made me be able to work in this particular place, or be able to deliver value where I am, is because of I have experience with the tech that I've learned. So the first thing you need to do is own your story, own your transition story. Yes, I'm trying to transition from what I'm currently doing now to something that has to do with tech. Maybe I want to transition from sales to something around maybe UI UX, right? Own it. Because at some point in time, while you have your experience from sales, you will likely still use it in your UI UX journey. I mean, you might decide to work as a freelancer, right? Trying to sell to people, right? Your design, trying to sell to people, trying to negotiate with people about the price that they pay you. You need your tech experience. So the first thing I would advise is own your story. The second thing I will also advise is build your portfolio, right? So build your portfolio. So you have been in various boot camps. You have been in various boot camps, and because you have been in various boot camps, you have done various projects, right? So that project that you have done, you definitely need it where you're transitioning to. In fact, that is the experience you need to where you're transitioning to. So the problem many people have is the fact that they do not take their project very serious, or rather, probably when they were doing the project during their boot camps, they were not active contributors. Yeah, they were not actually active contributors. So meaning when it's now time to actually do, when you get opportunities with the people you need to get opportunity with, because you are not an actual contributor, you tend to flop. Right, so build your portfolio, take part in project. Anywhere you get to see any project, just take part in it. Just take time to volunteer, take part in it, just so that you can build your portfolio. So after you have something like that, something as a portfolio, the next thing I would advise is you should practice for interviews. Right, in the tech space now, one thing that many companies will always do, right, is, aside the fact that they want to interview you physically, orally, just to know that, okay, you have an idea of what they are looking out to do. So many of them also want to interview you technically. I happen to be working on a dev engineer role with a client of mine, and one thing that they were hating on is they were not even willing to even talk to anybody orally. They were just going to do a direct coding test or a direct programming test, and once you get to pass that particular phase, right, you get to come on board. So practice for interview, be it your oral, be it your technical test. Practice for them. This will give you an edge over people who feel they already know. Right. So if you are going for any interview, the night before, 2 days before, just try to do a little things with respect to things that you believe you need with respect to that particular position, and practice it. You might be surprised when you get there. The things that you have practiced might be what we get to come out. Right. The next thing I will also advise is you should get comfortable. Right, get comfortable with your job hunt. So this is where I believe many of us get frustrated. Right. One thing I always say, I think that would just be like the major explanation I would give here is, all you need is just one yes. All you need is just 1 year. So if you do not take anything out of anything I've been saying throughout today, just take out this particular part, that all you need is just 1 year, right? You might apply 999 times, you might apply 1,000,000 times, right? And you might fail, but all you need is just 1 year to clear out all the number of times that you have been rejected. So continue to have at it. Continue to apply as much as you can, and as you are applying, continue to grow while you apply. As you are applying, continue to grow. As you are applying, continue to grow. As you are applying, continue to grow. Because these are the things. The more the more you evolve, the more you stand a chance of landing your next job. Right, and what I want to say is, the last time I would likely close with, right, is believe in something. Right, which is likely the last time I want to close with, like, because of our time. Believe in something. So many of us, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm sorry for the non believers in our midst, right? But I've gotten to know over the years, with respect to the number of times, I mean, number of years I've lived, yes, is that something controls the physical, right? And I'm a believer that the spiritual controls the physical, right? So you will be ignorant to do this word without something of a spiritual power backing it, right? Why I'm saying this is because there are very, very qualified people that are out of jobs. There are very, very qualified people out there, people that are very skilled than you, that are out of job. So if we have those sort of people that are out of job, what do you think will make you stand out? Right? What do you think will make you stand out of these particular people to give you the job? And this is where the believing in an higher power comes in. So you might you might feel, oh, if I'm skilled enough, I might get a job. It's a lie. you need to believe in something. Again, I would just close with it, with this, and I believe when Amici will come in on board, he will likely dive into the more technical part, and definitely I might be open to speaking as to that when it comes on board, if I'm given the opportunity to. But I'll just be closing with this, which is something I've stated before, right? All you need is just one yes, right? So you might apply 999 times, right? But you just need that particular one opportunity from somebody, and that is all you need. That that is all you need to just clear out all the times that you have applied, right? And with this, I would just want to end and allow our convener come on board. And if I'm opportune to talk again, I'll be speaking more technically to what are the things that you can actually do, or what are the things that you can actually put in place as a job seeker or as somebody who has gone through boot camp to actually make sure, to just be like the barest minimum for you to land your next job. Thank you very much for your time again. So.
Okay. Hello. Wow. Wow, that's amazing. Hi, Afoma. Thank you for controlling that feedback. What's going on? Okay, okay, great. So guys, can you guys still hear me? This is awesome. This is amazing. Because sometimes you just think that you're just so qualified you can step into a place confidently. I myself, I am still a human being. I still applied for a particular position some years back. I've never been so confident in my life. Like I was for an interview. So I went there, I did everything, and I stepped out confidently. But the other side of it, I was thinking, can I keep to this job with my lifestyle? I had a baby then. My baby was just a few weeks old, and the job would take me like how many transports before I get to my destination? Like it's pretty far from the other side of Lagos. So that was just the only thing in my mind. But I was so confident that this thing, I have nailed it. By the time they sent me feedback that I didn't make it through, I was just like, are you serious? Are you serious? Like, I think I was so qualified. So that also supports what our speaker just said, that it's not about you. You can put everything together, everything you need to put together, and you're working in so confidently. You should also have the backing of your faith, understanding, and the God you believe in, working through with confidence. After you submitted everything you have submitted, still put your prayers in place, pray and go confidently, because it's not about our works. Okay, sometimes people might just be in a wonderful mood, funny mood that day, and you come for interview. It's not you that offended them, but they just felt like everything this person is saying is not just likable. And someone can see someone's face and be like, this person looks like a person that offended me some days ago. In fact, I don't think this person, I don't want to be seeing this face. Those things do happen. But you will just come in and you be the person that the person wants to work with. I saw a video this morning, those kind of, let me just call it all those memes, they record videos and put online. It's kind of funny though. I know it's not so practical. Like the person interviewing people goes about and hangs around in the street and pretends, and why people check the way people behave before they go into the interview. And she ends up surprising them and be like, this okay, and try to make them take some decision either to help or do something. So when they now come in, they judge them by their behavior. Some people will steal money, misbehave, and at the end of the day, they'll tell you, oh, this is actually the person that was going to interview you, but was sneaking around trying to see your behavior, and you flopped. So those things do happen. But even though it's not something we see every day, it doesn't really happen like that. But sometimes you don't know who you meet. So even before you go for an interview, it's still good for you to be your best behavior. Anything you're doing, bring your A game. And I like the way Victor puts it, that you should know, you should always be the best of what you do. As you're applying, keep learning. It's not like I have applied for this job and this is what I'm good at. That's what I'm sticking to. So last webinar we had, the speaker was talking about people believe that data science, data analytics is all about data and no coding. By now, you cannot boldly say that there is no more coding, because when you're going to work with Power BI and rest of them, you might have to code at some point. Even product designers, you know that employers are now looking for product engineers. So that means you will code at some point. So if you don't improve yourself, you will remain in the place of designing screens. You're just like a graphic designer now. At the end of the day, they will look for someone that has an extra into it. So why don't you keep improving yourself? There are YouTube videos, free YouTube videos. You cannot overemphasize that. Free Code Camp is as well somewhere that you can learn coding. You have W3 schools. You learn from the scratch as though you have done it before, because they're always practical. I love free code camp very well. Free Code Camp. I love it very well because it's free and very practical. As they teach you, they make you do assignments that will twist your arm and your fingers so that you do it right. And when you make mistake and watch the replay of the video, correct yourself, you'll be better at what you do. So please do what you've heard. I don't want to go into another line of speech because I know that Victor nailed it. I wish I could continue hearing because he has one awesome voice and he's so detailed and experienced that if we had asked him to continue talking, most definitely we will keep learning. And I really, really appreciate it. It was swift and loaded. Please put your stuffs together because towards the end of this webinar, we'll allow you to ask your questions, okay? You ask the first and the second speaker because we want to have everything at once. You throw your questions according to the person you heard, okay? So put down your questions. You want to show us your CV or you want them to look at it, have a quick view at it. Just keep it ready and make sure you're using. Okay, since we are streaming on YouTube, I don't know if it will be okay for you to share your CV on the screen, but maybe if you can take a screenshot on share, if you're in Zoom, you're in the Zoom call, you bring your CV, you can take a screenshot and share it in the chat so that our speakers can look at it and give you a feedback on it. Okay, if you're okay to share your screen, you have your CV and you want to share it so they can look at it and tell you correct this, change that, that will also be awesome. Okay, so thank you very much, Victor. I wish we can have you much longer. I know you had a wonderful, busy day today, but I'm so happy you were able to make it with us. So while you're still here with us, I really appreciate you. So now I want to introduce our second speaker. Our second speaker, Mr. Kingsley Amechi. Let me get this thing up again. Okay. So please, if you know anyone that you invited that hasn't joined this call, whether on YouTube or physically, please, okay. Okay, thank you very much, Victor. He shared something in the chat right now. If you can see it, put your thumbs up, because I want people that are engaging and involved, actively participating to see this. He dropped something in the chat. If you give me a thumbs up that you saw it, then I'll read it out. If not, we'll leave it for those that are paying attention. Okay. So also those that are joining us on YouTube, please feel free to introduce yourself. I mentioned, okay. Oh, great. Thank you. Yes, I mentioned the fact that you can introduce yourself and you're looking for a job. Remember, we have recruiters here and they might have some things at the back of their mind, like there are some people on their list that they want to provide with employees. You can drop in your data. Like, what are you looking, what kind of job are you looking for? What kind of position? Drop it there. Introduce yourself, where you're joining us from, and also the job position you're looking out for. Please drop it in the chat. If you're on YouTube, please drop it in the chat because more people will visit your update. Yes. Victor, please, can you share your LinkedIn account link with us so we can also reach out to you on LinkedIn? Yes, that would be great. Thank you. So Victor, the last speaker, just drop something in the chat because I have a good feedback now. He said a bonus to all you guys that are attending this live webinar, upgrade webinar. He says a bonus will be that we can share our CVs with him on LinkedIn. He's willing to review your CV on LinkedIn. But if you want a live review, you're having two people reviewing your your CV right now, drop it here. If you want just him, then you can reach out to him on LinkedIn. He's dropping his LinkedIn account here with us. Then for those of us on YouTube, joining from YouTube or watching the replay, you can join our community and send in your CV to the admin so we can forward it to him, okay? Then you can also have his LinkedIn link or account in our community. In case you haven't joined our community, the best thing you have to do right now is to go all the way to our website, shimergetribe.com. That's our website, shimergetribe.com. Go to our website. Once you enter the page, you will see join our community. You see the form, fill the form, and you find yourself in our WhatsApp group. So you can join our community and see whatever information we are sharing. Okay, so that's the only process. Don't meet me and say I should add you to the group. I don't add anybody. You go through the website, so everybody has equal access to information we have in the group and our newsletter. Thank you very much. So with that, I'll introduce our next speaker, Mr. Amechi Kingsley. He is the Senior Recruitment Consultant for eRecruit Africa. He is a result-driven and goal-oriented professional who provides and designs practical solutions for businesses in digital space. He has consistently trained and recruited both tech and non-tech talent to different organizations locally and internationally. So I'm honored to welcome Mr. Kingsley Amechi to our live session today, Upgrade Webinar, Securing Your First Job Confidently. Thank you so much for joining us and always being available whenever we call you. Thank
I don't
you.
understand. Why is this thing all this? I'm not
Hi,
using this
Eloho. We
thing.
can hear your voice and you're bothering us. Hi, Eloho. Mute yourself. Thank you very much. So back to our speaker, please. You have the table set.
All right. Hi everybody. Good evening. How many minutes do I have, please? Do you mind telling me so that I don't exit that?
Okay, you have 20 minutes.
Okay, sounds
Yes.
great.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Well done, Victor. That was really insightful, Maoga. Well done. That was really insightful. Thank you, right, for also sharing your story and making it very relatable. Thank you, Frances, for the work that you do. And to the community, thank you so much for inviting me back again. I did not take it for granted. Welcome everybody on the group. I think I have a friend on the call. Kate, thank you for also coming. All right, so I mean, Victor has literally laid the foundation for what we are speaking about today, right? After boot camp, what next? And I like the fact that he started from the story part without necessarily jumping into the technical part of it. Because again, picking from what he said, looking for a job is actually a job itself. Either you are in the tech space or you are not in the tech space. So I've been doing recruitment for about 4 or 5 years now, specifically in the consulting. So which means that I've been recruiting for and managing talent for different organizations. I've recruited for companies in the UX, company in Asia. I've also recruited for a company in Australia. I've literally recruited for a lot of companies in Africa and Nigeria. Again, both tech and non-tech role. I've also spoken for international audience, and one thing I can tell you for free is that the challenges you are having today as somebody who is just starting up in your tech career in Nigeria is the same thing that a couple of people are also having outside. So there are always very interesting stories about it. Either you are just starting into tech or you are transitioning into tech. It's literally the same thing because you have to now start taking the baby steps to make sure that you get to a particular point in your career where you are looking at. So again, what happens after boot camp? So let's say that you've gone to the boot camp, you've learned on your tech skills, you've learned XYZ and all of that. Then what is going to happen? where do you now start taking it? What is the first thing that you have to now start doing? Do you just jump right into it and then start applying for different jobs, or do you take a step back and then do some sort of calculations so that when you launch great, right? So I tell people immediately after any skill, especially when you are transitioning on you when you're on when you are just starting, the first thing to do is to do a proper research on that particular industry. Now, I know, for instance, that you've learned the skills. There is the skill part of it. So there is the technical part of a thing, and then there is the for lack of words now, I'll say the administrative part of a thing. So for what that means is for every industry you're going into, there is the movers and shakers here. There is the influencers. There are the people who have gone far ahead of you, right? It is better you start learning bit by bit as much as you can from what the influence or from what the industry looks like, as opposed to just jumping into just jumping into it blindly. So first thing is, you also have to understand that as recruiters, we're not your, what's that word? We're not the bridge to either your success or your failure, right? We are literally just human beings just trying to do our job. So imagine that you have finished this particular boot camp, right? But there is a bridge to cross. Now, that bridge is the bridge between your boot camp and going into the boardroom. All right. And you're asking a lot of questions about, are you really ready? Would they pick you when you go for interview? Is my experience enough? Which is actually a very valid question. Again, as recruiters, one of the secrets that you should know today is recruiters are not looking for superheroes, because there are no superheroes actually. What recruiters are looking for is people who believe in what they've learned and they show up with confidence. And I'm speaking to this because we are talking about leaving boot camp, right? Recruiters again are not looking for superheroes. We're looking for people who believe and have confidence in what they've learned. Now, so let me give you a little bit of story. When I scroll through resumes, right, and I speak to candidates, one thing I'm doing is I'm not just checking for perfect somebody who has, say, a perfect CV. For in as much as I expect that your CV is going to be clear with clear formatting and is going to be in a reverse chronological order, I do not expect, if you're just leaving school or if you're just starting out, your CV to be like a CV of somebody who has about 4 or 5 years experience. Okay, that's one. Then another very interesting thing is the fact that you will have to demonstrate what you have learned in the boot camp. All right. So, and I understand that in boot camp they give what we call capstone project. That's literally like almost your last project. You will have to demonstrate the ideas, how you went about this project, how you do X, Y, Z. So there are two things when you are just starting up in terms of your resume. So resumes can be it can be in two forms, primarily. So your resume can either be aspirational or your resume can be experience based. Experience based resume is people that currently have an experience in a particular field. Now, aspirational base is somebody who does not have experience yet, but by the time you read the CV, you will see the person's energy. You will see that they are enthusiastic about what the future holds for them in that particular field. So I was, I think about last week or last 2 weeks, I was looking for a UI UX designer for to support a senior person, and we were checking through different CVs and all of that. The major thing that my client was very much interested in was looking at the person's portfolio. We understand the fact that the person might not really be there yet, but the fact that the person has a portfolio that shows some sort of potentials, that is exactly what she was looking at. Again, it was a supporting role. She herself was a senior UI UX designer, so she was just looking for somebody to move some things to help clear off her table, right? Somebody who is also ready to learn and all of that. And this was supposed to be remote and all of that, right? Again, your CV is the first thing that is going to hit me. When your CV now comes in, then I demand for your portfolio. By the time I see your portfolio, it now helps me to decide if you're going to go to the next stage or not. But what is going to make me shortlist you in the first place is how well your CV looks like, right? I know Victor has talked about a lot about how you should come correct, right? So I'm just going to do a little bit of technical part, and then we can take questions together, and then we wrap up, right? So you have to have a clear resume that talks about what you currently do, and you will have to have a portfolio. So people make a lot of mistakes in their resume. Now, one of the things they do is their CV not being very clear, not being clear, not being in a concise and clear formatted way, or using different fonts and different fonts and different sizes of fonts. And also, one of the mistakes people also do is the fact that, so gone are the days when you are writing your CV and you're putting things like your gender, your DOB, your local government, state of origin, and all of that. That is like one of the oldest ways of doing CVs. Right now, your CV just has to have your name, your address, your phone number, and your address does not actually have to be your particular number. And why that is because of the fact that, I mean, there is a lot of scam when it comes to jobs that is going on. So I always advise people, if you stay on Obafemi way, you can say Obafemi way, Ikeja, Lagos. You do not necessarily have to put your actual address, right? Because again, there are a lot of jobs that you're applying out there that are scam, right? And you do not want the person to know your actual address. So that, and then following that is your experience. There's what we call ATS. ATS is applicant tracking system. Some people call it. There's also HRIS. What it means is immediately you apply for a job, that particular job goes to a software. The recruiter looking at that particular, looking at your CV is also looking at minimum of 1,000 other CVs or 500 other CVs. You do not want to bore whoever is looking at your CV with putting your DOB and all of that before coming with your experience. So immediately after that, your experience should come. And after your experience, you can do your educational qualification and then you can put in your skills. Now, your skills is in naming some of the things the tools that you are that you are very familiar with in terms of using. Now, one of the questions people ask a lot is, I just finished boot camp. I have zero experience. How do I put an experience that I do not have? Right. One thing you can do is you can use your capstone project as one of the experiences that you have and the things that you learned through it. Put it in such a way that one can pick questions from that place and ask you, and then you are able to answer you are able to answer confidently some of those, right? Now, when your CV is in that format, it is easy for the person to look at it. And then one secret again is when it comes to ATS is the fact that they use what we call keywords, right? So into any immediately you apply to any job that has a job board, at the back end as recruiters, the keywords are ranking you, right? They are ranking you in terms of the keywords that we've supplied, and some of those keywords are in the job description that we have supplied. So what that means is you cannot use one CV to apply for every jobs. Don't forget that different companies have different names that they call a particular job. So for instance, in my company, we use the word recruitment consultant. In another company, they might use what we call, okay, I think in career, but they use talent partner. In another company, they use talent acquisition specialist. All of these, they are the same word. We are doing the same role. All of us are doing the same role. We're just doing talent acquisition, actually. But different companies use different, I think it's just synonyms and English and all of that. So when you're applying for a job, make sure that as much as you see the job description, tailor your CV to what the job description is talking about. That will give you more room. Again, like I said, looking for a job or trying to get your first gig right, is also a job itself. But I can tell you for free, like Victor said, you might get 1,000 no. All you are looking for is just one yes. However, you also have to be prepared for that particular yes. Going to boot camp is never enough. All right. Having a boot camp experience or learning some skills in the boot camp, it's not enough. There are several things that you have to come. There are several things that you have to do. Because the interesting thing is technical skill might get you a job. What is going to keep you in that job is your soft skill. And your soft skills are things that are as basic as your leadership skills, things that are as basic as your critical thinking skills, as simple as showing up early and coming to your interview early. Now, I've had interviews for people who are also just starting up, and you find out that some of them come to the interview late, even when the interview is a virtual interview. So you can imagine how well do I now take you seriously. All right. So again, another thing is you have to understand what is on your CV and you are able to defend it without looking at it. I've had cases where I ask people questions from the CV they submitted and they look very shocked, as if as I was speaking it from somewhere else. All right. Then apart from knowing exactly what is on your CV and being able to defend it, you also have to understand the company where you are applying to. If it is not a company, if it's a person that you're applying to work directly with, you'll have to understand their experience. You have to know what they do or the companies where they have worked and some of the projects that they have done. So that when you're having a conversation, you are not going to be blank. You will have things to say. All right. You are able to hold down a conversation that will land you that particular gig. Again, for the job that you're looking for, there are 101 people that are also trying to get that job. Okay. And I can tell you for free as a recruiter that there are jobs everywhere. There are jobs everywhere. I have friends who are in Nigeria and working for international organization and they earn in dollars. I know you've heard that a lot of times, but it's not a cliche. It is what it is. All right. And those people getting those jobs, they do not have what they don't have two heads. Or what do you say? They don't have two heads. They're also people like you. And then I tell people to also prepare for interviews when you're going for an interview. Prepare for your interview. Do your research. One of the best ways for you to always ace your interview after preparing is if you have a recruiter or you have an HR friend who can help prepare you, fine. Let them ask you different questions. Stand before mirror, answer the questions, and then imagine yourself answering those questions in a panel or anywhere they're going for that interview. Another way you can do another helpful place where you can also prep for your interview is what we call Google warm up. I'm going to put that on the chat now. Google warm up is a web warm up. Yeah, Google warm up is a web AI tool that helps you to prep for an interview, and it's very easy. You can either use voice, you can either use voice or you use typing, but advisable to always use voice. It's going to ask you a question, you respond to that question, and then at the end of the day, you see how well you've done, and then you can keep practicing. All right, and that's very important for you to, because it's one thing for you to apply to a job, it's another thing for you to get there and have a smooth interview run and then ace the job. All right. Again, as a recruiter, nobody is, and I'm speaking from somebody who is coming from consulting, because in consulting, we don't have a lot of time. Within 24, 48 hours, we want to close a particular role and then move on to the next person or move on to the next role. Currently, I'm hiring for a role in the UK. I'm hiring for another one in Nigeria, hiring for another one in the US. So, which means that, and these are not just junior roles, these are very serious, which means that there is no recruiter that will spend a lot of time trying to review somebody who is just starting up over and over and over again. So it is very much better that when you are coming the first time, you're not only coming correct, you are coming with a lot of energy, and you are showcasing the fact that you know what you are doing and you know what you're supposed to do. Another thing is the fact that you also have to brand yourself on LinkedIn. All right. LinkedIn cannot be overemphasized. You have to brand yourself on LinkedIn. It cannot be overemphasized. And there is also the wait period between before you get your first job and after your boot camp. That particular wait period is an opportunity for you to keep putting out a lot of things about what you have done. Gone are the days when people come to discover you. Right now, people put themselves out there to be discovered. So what that means is, um, when it comes to what the industry you are, let's say you're a data person, or let's say that you're UI UX designer, you have to keep talking about UI UX designing on your LinkedIn. You have to keep churning out content, different things actually that makes sense. Some things that are based on your research, some things that are based on your own little experience, even while you were learning in the boot camp. All right. So, for instance, I also advise people that you can take case studies. There are several case studies out there. Take different case studies, work on them, do a fantastic job about them, and then let the world see it. Let people know about it. When you post it, tag some of the people that you think that they are the big boys in your industry, right? Tag them about, oh, what do you think about this? Some of them will reply, some of them will respond, some of them will not respond. But it's okay for them not to respond. All right. Do not be discouraged. Again, but it is not okay for you now to finish boot camp and then sit and then say you are waiting for a job. You will have to be doing something. Okay. You will have to be able to showcase in your wait period what what you've been able to learn further. If you're in an interview and you're telling me that, oh, you did a boot camp 3 months ago, and between then and now, this is what you've been able to do on your own, even without getting a job. That sounds like somebody who is serious enough to handle anything that you throw at them. All right. It sounds like the person is a serious person. So that particular wait period is not a time for you to, you can use it to learn more, you can use it to acquire more skill. However, you also need to use it to do a lot of practical work yourself. So you now learn that, oh, you use, so I understand that one of the tools that you might be using is Figma, but you do not really understand, maybe in the boot camp, you guys didn't really cover the entire Figma and how it works and all of that. But in your own spare time, in your own wait time, you are able to cover how Figma works. You are able to learn advanced Figma. You're able to go to YouTube to learn advanced things about Figma, or you pick the case study, right? That seems very challenging, and you're able to solve that. All right. That has taken you away from a regular person who has just done the boot camp and then is waiting for their first job, to somebody who is on the move, regardless of when the opportunity has come. Now, it also means that when the opportunity comes, there's going to be clear difference between the person who has been doing things and the person who has just been waiting. All right. So, that being said, another important thing in all of this after boot camp is networking. Networking is very important. You also have to belong to communities of people that do what you do. Attend not just webinars, but also meetups of tech enthusiasts, of people who do exactly what you do. Connect with people either on Slack, on LinkedIn, anywhere. As long as they do what you do, connect with them. And it does not have to be only local connections. You can connect internationally with people that do what you do. All right. You can send LinkedIn. I get a tons of LinkedIn messages from people who are looking for jobs every day. I try as much as possible to respond to the ones that I can. And then the ones that I can't, I move. All right. So, but the point is, opportunity does not come to your doorstep while you are waiting. Opportunities, you're supposed to go out to meet those opportunities and then clinch to them, which is actually very important. So, in conclusion, you have to make sure that as you are done with boot camp, first you have to understand that the skills and everything you've learned is not enough. you have to learn more. Secondly, you have to also put yourself out there, either by churning out content or writing few things about your industry. You also have to rebrand yourself on LinkedIn, on how your LinkedIn looks, the things you're talking about, the people you are following, right? So that when, okay, so an interesting thing is when you're reading Victor's profile, you heard about him being a Boolean search specialist. What Boolean search simply means is we using keywords on different platforms like GitHub and all of that to get the right people. So it means that on LinkedIn, you have to make sure that what you are putting in terms of the words you are writing, right, they are keywords that have to do with your industry. So that when people like Victor is Boolean searching, they are seeing you, you are popping up. Okay, I just needed to mention that, which is also very important. So rebrand yourself on LinkedIn, not just on LinkedIn, on all platforms. You cannot be a UI/UX designer and you are not. There are different platforms. I can't remember those platforms right now, but there are several platforms for UI/UX designer. When I remember, I'm just gonna say it. But there are places you also create your portfolio. All right. Hey, you cannot be a UI designer and you're not on Behance. You have to be on Behance, right? You have to be somewhere that we can easily see your portfolio, and make sure that your portfolio is digitally crafted. All right. Your portfolio has to have a link. When I say send me your portfolio, I'm not expecting you to send me a PDF file or for you to send me a link to a Google Drive. I'm expecting you to send me a link that sends me it to either to your Behance, or you're sending me to Portfolio Box, or you're sending me to any of these websites where we can always check your profile, which is very important. Then the last thing I said is you have to network. All right. You have to network. You have to network with people in your industry. You have to have people who you see as mentors. Either you are talking to them or not, but they are literally like your upline. And then you have to have people who are your middle line, and then people that are in your downline. Your middle line are people who are averagely have the same experiences as yourself, while your upline are people who have the kind of experience that you are looking for. Right? Connect with them and all of that. So, and there are very simple ways when you start connecting to people who do what you do. There are people that as simple as connecting with somebody who works with Flutterwave. Maybe they are lead UI/UX designer. You connected with the person.
Okay, I can't hear anything anymore. Is it me or is it network? I want to confirm. Is it my network or is it?
I think it's Amiche's network.
Okay, great. I'll just to be sure it's not my network that cut me off. Okay, let's see. I hope he noticed that he's not audible anymore.
Yes. I'm here. I think
Okay, great. Thank
reconnected.
you.
Yeah. So in conclusion, right, like I said, do not give up in your journey of getting your first job or your first gig. It does not necessarily have to be a paid one. The first one do not have to be a paid one necessarily. It could be a volunteer. It could be something that you are doing for somebody for free, or the money they're even paying you is not so much, right? But take it, learn from it, and then keep moving. Trust me, that is just the beginning. It is not your end. All right. So as long as you do not conform, you will keep moving. All right. So basically that will be it from me. Thank you so much for listening to me. Um yeah, I hope I'm still within my time. Thank you guys so much.
Yes, you are within your time. And this is really amazing. Honestly, I know that you have more things to say. You're just, let me use the word, spitting it out. Like the information are way so much that Even people that think they already know everything about getting a job, we are discovering some kind of things that employers are doing. So you think it's all about your CV, you find out that the CVs that are being checked out are up to thousands. You're not the only one that saw the application and applied. And while these people are doing that, how do they even pay attention to details like those things that are not key, that you have used to put in your CV and making the important work you've done move towards the end and they don't get to see it eventually? What are your digital footprints like? Like, we cannot overemphasize, just like you said, LinkedIn. Seriously, I remember some years back, I was chatting with a lady from one of these, I think Ogilvy or so, in this advertising company. She works with Ogilvy, and I reached out to her on Facebook. So we're in a Facebook community for product designers. So she was working with them and I saw her profile. It was beautiful and she was willing to chat. So I got into her meeting and we got talking and she was like, I'm sorry, my social engagements are on LinkedIn. So then I didn't know the value of LinkedIn. I could not, because I think I was having a problem with my LinkedIn accounts then. My LinkedIn was blocked. Like, I was this strike. LinkedIn just blocked my account. And that time I couldn't reach out to her. I lost contact with her because I couldn't make contact with her on LinkedIn. I felt so bad because by the time I was able to recover my LinkedIn account, that was many years later. I wasn't also active on Facebook as well. So this whole thing, like, the conversation could not continue because she may not be able to recall all that. So that is very important. People are navigating to LinkedIn. One, because your mini CV is on LinkedIn. Trust me. You have updated your LinkedIn account. You put in all your projects, what you've done so far. You have your features, because LinkedIn has made some special features so open to everybody to access. Please make use of it. Facebook also have a place you put your profile and make sure your detail is updated. This is what social media can do for you. But beside that, you need to do the work of updating your social media account, showing up where it's necessary, sharing your wins and your growth timeline. Then what are the kind of conversation you have online? Someone will definitely find out. So don't go on TikTok and start fighting people that you don't know because you're a keyboard warrior. Or you go on Twitter and you reel out something that you will not be proud of tomorrow. Remember, your digital presence can be called up at any time by anyone. Thank you so much, Amici, because I know that there are so many things you have to. In fact, I wish you brought a slide because I was looking forward to, like, let's take screenshots and remember them a lot, because you said quite a lot of things, and we will keep that in mind and keep going back to it. Thankfully, this video is being recorded and it's also on YouTube, but you know that you have a limited timeline before YouTube start deleting live, because they plan to reduce the volume of things saved in their database. So if you don't watch this video now or get your friends to watch it now, in a short time it will disappear. So please take notes. Now, we're opening the floor for questions. We have just 15 more minutes, so like 40 more minutes now to round off. So we want to have you dropping your questions in the chat, or feel free to unmute yourself. But before you do that, please raise up your hand so we have an order so people don't bump into each other trying to ask their question. I'm sure you have a lot now. So go ahead. You can type in your question if you're in a noisy place, or you raise up your hand and unmute yourself, then ask your questions. If you have your CV to share, please feel free to drop it right away in the chat so we can look at it and give you feedback. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, so go ahead, please. Questions time. Okay, let me get back here. Okay, so do we have questions or we don't? Looking at the chats. Okay, so while we're coming up with our questions, I would like to throw my first question to Victor. So you from all you shared with us, we know that there are some things, there are some places that talents make mistakes. So we don't always know what when you talk about interviews and talk about salary. So what is the best way to approach conversations surrounding your first employment and talking about money? Because you know the economy now, you can't just keep quiet. Someone was telling me yesterday that there are people that are no bold to ever ask people for money are now opening up. They swallow their shame and say, I need. So now, if you really want to get a job, you consider what the economy is like. So if I want to go for an interview, and they raise the question of how much they want to get paid, or they ask me what do I want to ask them, and I want to talk about money. What's the best approach to it? Do you prefer someone would that will be very much commendable and advantageous to the person?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for the question. So if I guess you correctly, you're asking about the best approach to go about uh, salary negotiations, if that's the question. So I will just come from that angle, right? And I'll keep it as short as possible. So if you're trying to apply for a role, or you are in a discussion, you're in an interview, and then you've done your best with respect to discussing about your experience, right? And now it's now time to discuss, I mean, the reason, one part of the reason why you're there, because I mean, we were having an argument sometime in my department, and one thing that was mentioned is the one reason why we work is because we want money, right? So that is a very, very important part in the whole employment discussion, because you are getting the money, you're exchanging your skill, you're exchanging all you've done for money, right? So that is a very, very important part. You should not shy away from it. So one advice I definitely will give is that prior to that interview, do your research. First, do your research about what is the industry standard for the role you're applying for. Do your research about it across the various industries. Maybe you are in the media industry. Do that in the consulting. Do that in FMCG. Do that in tech or financial services. Do that in IT. Do that in various industries. Get like an average. Get like a standard salary for the particular role you are applying for. Mind you, right? There are different tiers. There are different tiers when for various industry. What I mean by tiers is that, and one example that might help us guess the whole tier thing is respect to the banks, right? So the banks are in tiers. You have the tier one, you have the tier two, you have the tier three, the tier four, and the likes, right? And the tier one are mostly the banks we call the fugas, right? More or less like a short form for First Bank, UBA, Guarantee Trust Bank, Access Bank, Zenith Bank, and I think another bank has been added to that part. So they are the tier one banks, and most time people salary around that level is different from salary that a tier two bank will pay. Just as how you have tiers in the multinational sector. So the amount a multinational company will pay for a certain level is different from that a local company, let's say a multinational company like BSDOF, or a multinational company like Nivea and BSDOF are the same thing, or Procter and Gamble, P&G, right, or PZ. Yeah, it's different from that of what a Dangote will pay. It's different from what a Danso will pay. It's different from what a local company will pay. So one thing that our advice is, do your research across board, get like an amount in salary what these people pay, and then do your research about the company you are applying for. Get to learn about the salary they pay for that role you are applying for, right? So you have an idea of what is it a range that you can mention. So most times don't tend to mention a single price, because you might most likely to shoot yourself in the foot. So tend to work with a range. Get to work with a range that you believe is okay for you within that industry standard or that company standard. Tend to work with a range that is okay for you, right? A range that is not below what you believe, I mean, you are worth for that role. And then open up the budget into something that you believe, okay, yeah, um, um, when worst come to worst, it will just balance up, right? So that is the best way to approach. That is the way I will prefer somebody approach salary discussion. Do your research about what other industry are offering. Do your research about what that company is offering. Then have a form of a form of salary range in your mind, right? Just so that you can help balance the scale when trying to make such discussion. So yeah, I don't know if that is something that you like, or if that answers the question too.
Yes, that absolutely answers the question, because money matter is really serious matter. We all get to apply for job. If not, we'll be cruising in our house. We need something to work for and get not just fulfillment, but economic support. So my next question goes to our second speaker, Mechi. So what would you say about experience? Because we have women here. And there's this thing about talent, like when we go for boot camps, because our theme this month is what next after boot camp, and then now securing your first job after boot camp. So we have women that are very wonderful, like they will go for this boot camp. They feel they are not qualified enough, maybe study product design. You go to another boot camp, you go and learn data science or data analytics. Then you come back again, go and take another free training program. You see an offer like scholarship, apply. They are busy doing this while there are job offers coming and going. They feel they don't qualify. They want to test the ground. They're not willing to go back to, because they are seeing jobs like 5 years experience, and you're just fresh out of boot camp. So how do you help that person? What do you have to say to that person that is afraid because I am saying 5 years experience, so I don't qualify? Let me go back to another boot camp. So over time, let me just be wasting time because I don't know. Sometimes is do I say inferiority complex or imposter syndrome? So I don't know what can be the reason, but experience now is a major factor for most employers, which I know sometimes people scale through because of portfolio. Maybe they have good portfolio, their experience is no longer a match. But let me not answer the question. I want to say something that has to do with that system of women thinking they are not qualified based on what the job offer is. Like you have 5 years experience, that's what we need, and you're afraid you cannot apply. So what do you have to say to them?
Thank you. That's an interesting question. What I can say to them is, first, don't be confused. Then secondly, right, you have to also understand that every professor today was once an 100 level student, right? Which means that every professional was once an entry level person. So you cannot start up on a journey and then you run to another. I mean, it's good to know a little thing about everything if that's the purpose. However, it's not okay for you to be very confused, running head scatter and all of that. It's just like the way we carry baggages. The truth is, if I carry different weights, right, and I'm running, it's going to be heavier. But if I carry one of those weights and I'm running, there are chances that I will feel a bit lighter and I will be a bit faster. So what I would say is, do your proper research and stick to one role, or stick to one skill, as the case might be. That particular time where you are seeing 5 years of experience, it is because there are people that have stayed in that particular role for 5 years. And now there's somebody looking for them. So there are chances that if you two have stayed there for maybe that long, you are also able to. So first of all, when you are transitioning into tech, you have to have a plan, right? And I do not expect that your plan is in the next 1 year or in the next 2 years, you're already applying for jobs that are 5 years, that demands 5 years in experience or demand 6 years in experience. You're obviously going to be looking for jobs that are within your number of years of experience. Okay, so while you are doing that, learn as much as you can. All right, every field, especially when it comes to tech, is a growing field. There is no, you can't read or have the knowledge of everything in a particular field. It never ends. All right, it's like canon. It's like a continuous and never ending improvement. You have to keep improving. You have to keep, even doctors still read, they still keep improving after they've even attained professionalism. All right, so you need to keep reading, you need to keep learning, you need to keep at your craft. So consistency in your craft and what you do is what is going to say that in the next 5 years you are able to also submit your CV, and then somebody can look at it and then you can start negotiating, as opposed to learning product management, learning UI UX, learning data management. No, the best thing is stick to one and then put all your focus and all your energy into that one and bring meaning to it. See, the truth is, for every job role, there are people that are the echelon of their career. There are people that are in the middle of their career. There are people that are still coming. That's the chain. It will keep going. That's the circle. All right. It will keep going that way. So there are chances that when you stick to what you are doing, you'll get to that point one day, as opposed to always getting tired and then running off. No, it doesn't work that way. I hope that answered your question, though. Hi, Frances. Oh, really? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much. Because the issue of testing the waters and testing too many waters and losing out time, because most bootcamp programs take between 3 to 6 months, and that time would have been used to invest in one and grow rapidly. Then another thing, because I have seen an experience, because we had during our tech experience visit to Cisco Experience Center, November last year. We had this meet and greet. We are talking, everybody was sharing their experiences. Then I had this young man that said something. Why would I call him young man? Should have remembered his name. Forgive me, please, because I know he will see the replay. And he said something like he went into product design. He didn't see anything in it. He tried so many tech skills. He didn't see it. But the day he came in contact with cybersecurity, he fell in love. Like, he was watching the videos, learning the course like he was drinking water. He was so fulfilled. So chances are that you might start out with the skill someone suggested for you, but the thing is, fail fast. I've heard that statement before. Fail fast so you can find your place fast enough and settle. So the time he used to find his place took him a while. Then immediately he found his place, he dug deep. He went to cybersecurity. Today, he mentors people in cybersecurity. And we have other people that wrote Cisco certifications, tried a few things before they finally found it. And they failed. You know, Cisco certification sometimes, it takes quite a lot and takes you short time to fail if you don't really know what you're doing, or you're not very vast in it. So the exam is, and you spend money to do that. So by the time you fail and fail and fail severally, by the time you settle, so if you do it fast, you fail and get good, you hit it. Someone applied for a job with NASA. It took him how many trials? I think the fifth trial before he became a staff of NASA. So if you are focused, trust me, just like he said, he has made a point, and please don't forget that. I'm not going to repeat everything he said. It's amazing because he really hit the nail on the head. So before I go to Kate, your hand is up. Let me read what our former Jacinta has in here. She drops her question before your hand. So let me read out her question. My question is, please, for a healthcare professional looking to transition into tech, having recently completed a tech program such as virtual assistant, but with no prior experience in the field What should they include in their work experience section while writing their CVs? So anybody can answer the question out of the two speakers, please.
Mr. Victor, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So I think I'll just go over the question again. My question, please, for an healthcare professional looking for to transition into tech, having recently completed a tech program such as virtual assistant, but no prior experience in the field. What should they include in their work experience section while writing their CV? So I will just answer straight. Um, I mean, I'll just answer the question straight. So basically, your job experience will likely be your job experience, right? So because of you do not have any prior experience, right, with respect to virtual assistant, the first thing that will likely show is where you currently work, your healthcare professional work, where you currently work. Let that be there. I'm coming back to it. The next thing that you're doing also is to write maybe you write about your experience as a virtual assistant. So it might be maybe a project around that, or maybe your volunteer work, right? For somebody as a virtual assistant. If you have that, put it there. Now back to your current experience as an healthcare professional, or rather, I mean, the experience you have as an healthcare professional, when you're looking to transition, you will look out for relatable skill, right, in that field. So this is something I mentioned when I was talking about when I was talking initially. I said own your transition story. So basically you are coming from somewhere. Let that form the foundation of where you are transitioning to. So the experience that you have, right, let that be like the foundation of where you are transitioning to. So there are transferable skills in healthcare. So obviously in healthcare, you might be looking at transferable skills like people management, right? The healthcare space is a place where various people come to with various emotion. So you must be able to manage people. And in virtual assistant, you also need to be able to manage people, because you're, in a way, to an extent, you are likely going to be working. Part of your role will likely be customer management or people management, right? There's also the part of EQ, that's EI, there's emotional intelligence. You'll be looking at people. You should be able to relate to people, right? These are transferable. These are like transferable skills that you can have in the healthcare space and also have as a virtual assistant. So look out for all those things that are transferable and hit the nail on the head with respect to those things, right? When you are preparing your CV and even when you are interviewing, right? Try to bring all those things into life, right? So while I was interviewing for when I was transitioning into the recruitment space the first time, right? I had no prior knowledge about what the recruitment space was, right? But then because I have done something around sales, right, and I had experience with talking to clients or talking to people, right? This was the part of the skill that I leveraged on majorly when I was applying for the recruitment gig. So these are like transferable skill, right? Maybe before the end of this call, I might just give like a tip on how you can also use your sales experience, right, to apply for jobs, to reach out to people and apply for jobs, right? If we have time for that one. But this is just what I will just end with, which is what I've been saying before. Leverage on your transferable skills, that of what you have in the healthcare space, your people management skill, your EI, and some other skill that are in the healthcare space, which will also be needed in your virtual assistant tech role, and leverage on leverage on that on your CV. And while they're also looking to interview for that particular position. So I believe that should answer your question. But if you have any other question that or you need clarity, I'm open to like share more light on that.
Okay, thank you very much for that. As in the responses are always deep. So thank you so much for the clarification. We will definitely give out time for that you suggested so that we can learn. Okay, thank you very much. So we go over to Kate. Is your hand still up, or was your question answered the time you were raising your hand? Hi, Kate. Okay, please go ahead, unmute yourself and speak, please.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Good
So my
evening,
question
Kate.
here is that for someone with no job experience, no internship position yet, how would you recommend they structure their CV to pass the ATS scan? Especially considering that honesty is very important and we must be able to defend everything listed on our CV. So I think this question goes to Amechi. So how do you suggest that we structure the CV? Thank you.
Okay, hi Keith. Thank you for your question. Okay, already. If you can't be applying for a job that you have zero experience for. So for instance, what happens in the ATS? ATS is just applicant tracking system. We supply what we call the job description to the ATS, saying that we are looking for social person with social experiences, skills, and what have you, and then you want to apply. So first of all, you'll have to look at the job description to make sure that it is something that you have experience for in the first place. So let's say that we are looking for somebody that has 5 years of experience. Meanwhile, you have 1 year of experience. You see that if you apply for that, right, it is not going to fly. However, you have some experience already, right? Which means that there is even something to apply with. But if you have zero experience, which is what your question is referring to, if you have zero experience, there is no way you can be applying for a job that they're looking for 5 years or they're looking for 2 years of experience. So the first thing to do is to even go get an experience. And um, getting an experience starts from, let's say, immediately after your school, after you finish school and you have an idea of what you want to do. The first place to always start is always the place of knowledge. All right. Let's say you want to go into project management or you want to go into product management. You have zero experience. There is no way you can get employed with having zero experience. The first place to start with is the place of knowledge. Go and acquire, and that is why there are places like bootcamp. There are online courses like EDS, Coursera, LinkedIn. There are thousands of them. Start from that particular place. Start learning first. All right. Do not forget that while you acquire knowledge is also an experience. And why knowledge is an experience is because the tools that we are currently, so when I started coding years ago, we used to use Notepad to code. Then from Notepad, we started using Dreamweaver. Now there are different things that they even use to code right now, right? There are different software that they use to code now, and that makes things a lot easier. So it keeps getting better. That's my point. So what it means is, and while you are doing that, you are gaining experience on how that particular software works. So that also enriches your mind and also enriches your experience. So the first thing to do if you have zero experience, right, is get get knowledge. Learn as much as you can. If there are certification courses that you need to take those certification courses. Then start with internships. You can start with internship. You can start with volunteering for volunteering for work, right, with pay or without pay. You can now start, working for people for free just for you to gain a bit of experiences. Now when you have done that, there is something to show forth when you are submitting. And then let's say you now have a bit of experience. What you have to do to make sure that the ATS reads your CV, and this happens to a lot of people that transition from Nigeria and they're looking for job abroad, or they move from Nigeria and then they go abroad. There are different kind of CVs. All right. Now, for the ATS to also read your CV, it means that the keywords in the JD are also the keywords that you also have in your job description, which is very important when you are applying. All right. So you have to do a thorough research to see what exactly they are looking for. And then also take a second look at your own CV to see that these two CVs match. to see that this person qualifies for this, even if the number of experience they're looking for is not up to that. So I've had roles that clients will come and tell you that they need somebody who has 10 years of experience. I was looking for a head of I was looking for a head of IT for a non-governmental organization, and they said they need somebody who has 10 years of experience. However, their budget is not even so when we go to the market, we found out that the salary budget they have is not up to somebody who has 10 years of experience. But somebody who has 7 years of experience or 8 years of experience could fly. So what I did was I gave them people that have 7 years of experiences, 10 years of experiences, and I also laid out their salary budget for those kind of people. At the end of the day, they went with a guy who has 7 years of experience because the guy also showed that he could do the job regardless. All right. And that went and that happened. So there are some times that when you see jobs that um has a lot of years of experience, if you are close to that years of experience, you can also still apply, right? You can only, so they say they're looking for 3 years of experience, but you've got to, you can also apply. You never can tell what is going to happen. As long as you are very stuffy, you know your stuff, and you are able to defend your CV, right? So basically that is it. I hope I answered your question, Case. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So, okay, is there, okay, in the chat, Victor says something about, with 0 years, leverage on your NYSC term, either working in relevant places or learning things related to where you're transitioning and focusing to. So that is just it. It's just saying something like, don't waste your time anywhere. Your time everywhere should be noted, recorded. And I see him emphasizing the fact that your story is very important. Do not waste your story. Do not waste your journey. Do not waste your experience. Every experience matters. What did you do during your youth service program? Were you teaching? While you were teaching, what were you doing with your team members, colleagues? Pay attention to what happened then. We should not be busy scrolling the internet, having fun, doom scrolling, learning legwork on TikTok on our free times. Take time to take note of what's going on around you because they are all, in particular, going to contribute to your career growth. You're taking some NYSC free training programs. There are things that NYSC bring to the table. And I know, okay, I know some people sharing data like programs, sorry, NYSC coming in to share programs like come and do this for us, volunteer for this, volunteer for that, and your, what do they call that program again? CDS programs. Yes, we have NYSC corpers in our group. So there are core members there. And I'm sure that these people are already experiencing this thing right now. Please don't take it for granted. If you have a career path in the future that has transferable skills from what you're doing currently, it will definitely help you in your journey. Absolutely. So pay attention to what's going on with you, what you are doing, and be intentional. So if you're going to a tech career path tomorrow, and there are soft skills that you're going to acquire, maybe managerial skills, when you join management groups, management CDS program, it will help you tomorrow because they're going to apply into your CV as experience. Trust me, they are also experienced. So you can include it, 1 year experience doing this and that with this during my youth service core program because every experience matters to your growth. So thank you very much for our speakers. Thank you very much, our audience and the participants and those that will be watching the replay on YouTube for the time being. I'm very, very grateful for bringing out time. We have exceeded the time we agreed to spend in here, but you agree with me that that time was well spent and you are taking home some things. Please don't take anything you learned today for granted. The next step is get to action. Our last webinar, we had this conversation, start doing something with your LinkedIn. So I promised you guys that we're going to have a prompt, a daily prompt from at a particular time. I'm looking at all starting it from next month, which is next week, 1st of May, that we will have to contribute daily to our programs, please. You're going to come online on LinkedIn and post something about what you're doing. We are here to support you, and that is why we are particularly paying attention to your LinkedIn presence. For those of us that are too shy to post, we will be there to share with you. We will share, we will encourage you to make a post for the day, and we will interact with your post so that you can boost it and make more people see it. But this can only happen if you participate and you're able to drop your link of your post within the time allotted for it, within the time frame we're going to have this, please. LinkedIn is our focus, so we can share and share and share. If you don't share or keep track of your success, your progress, nobody will know. So look as if you just jumped from the space and became something and you want to have a job. People that have been posting and sharing their information will get attention faster than you will. So please, there's no being shy. See, don't be shy for what you really need. Thank you very much, Victor. Thank you very much for your time, Kingsley Amechi. I look forward to having you guys one way or the other over here again or somewhere, maybe a physical event or so before, I wouldn't say before a particular time, but I look forward to having that time with you guys again. So we get to meet and ask more questions. I know more of us have questions, but we've exceeded our time. Please feel free to drop your question here. We will send you answers. I will forward these questions to them directly to their chat so they can give me a feedback, a response in chat, and send it back to the community. If you don't ask your questions, we won't be able to answer it. And I promise you there'll be responses to you. But please, we cannot be on this call anymore, okay? Try to understand. So send your questions in the group chat. We will give you responses from our speakers when they have their time. I know they've had a long day today, and I also want them to rest. This is weekend, and we walk towards Monday to start our execution. Okay, thank you very much once more. My name remains Frances Aborigo, the founder of She Emerges with Innovation Women Empowerment Foundation, aka SheMerge. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a wonderful night rest. Goodbye.